Finding that comfortable position for your body to lay back and get comfortable. And just taking a few moments here to begin to make that shift. Making that shift from the constant going and doing, maybe even rushing to get here, to simply being here now. You can start to soften the gaze or close your eyes as you begin to establish that connection with your breath in and out through your nose, if that's available. And as you do that, start to soften that space between your eyebrows. Allow your jaw to unclench. Just letting your facial muscles be really soft here. You can start to notice scanning your awareness through the different sensations in your body here. Just noticing how you're showing up on your mat this morning. And then the more that we physically slow down, the more that our mind starts to ramp up. So see if you can keep redirecting your mind back to the breath as you lay here. Noticing the length and the duration of your inhale compared to your exhale. Are you giving more than you're receiving? Or are you receiving more than you're giving? Our inhales and exhales can be representative of that. See if you can start to even out the breath here. Allowing for your inhale to be the same length and duration as your exhale. Smoothing out the breath. So if we think of a big, loud breath in, like if we think of that type of breath as a sink faucet being put on full blast, so water's just rushing out of the faucet, could you imagine that when we smooth out the breath, you turn that faucet down by half? So that breath is really subtle to a place where only you can hear it. Notice if you're holding your breath in any way. See if you can start to let that go. Just noticing that rhythm of the breath here. Take a few more rounds of breath like this. Just really noticing that quality of the breath that you've created within this short time of the practice. And then slowly but surely, we'll start to bring some movement into the body. So wiggling the fingers and wiggling the toes. And then whenever you're ready here, we're going to slowly start to walk those feet in. Bringing the knees into the chest. So finding, I know I call it tight hugs and loose hugs, but since we're going to start to incorporate a little bit more Sanskrit into this class, this is called Apanasana. So exhale as you bring the knees in really close to the belly, as close as comfortable, and then inhale as you press the knees away. So just pumping the knees with the breath, exhale to bring the knees in, inhale to make space. Just noticing how that low back feels. And then when you're ready, we'll find some of those seaweed movements or seaweed poses. So as you inhale, float the arms and the legs up overhead. And then as you exhale, bring everything back into that tiny package. So then moving with the breath in that way. Inhale as the arms and the legs float. The arms could even rest behind you on the floor if that's comfortable. Exhale as you bring it all in. And so we're going to start to take the legs a little wider each time we let the legs go overhead, almost like you're tracing spokes on a bicycle wheel. You'll inhale and let the legs go wider and wider with each breath. And then when you're ready, we'll let the legs go as wide as comfortable, and we're going to stay there in that wide angle with the legs. You can use the hands as support here to just kind of hold on to the legs and support that angle. You can point and flex the feet. You can roll the ankles one way and then the other. righty. Then when you're ready, we'll just go ahead, exhale, bring those knees back into the chest. Give yourself a little hug. We'll find one more of those seaweed poses. So on this inhale, let the arms and the legs float. And now you choose what you do. Maybe you want to bicycle the legs one way and then the other. Maybe you want to find another wide angle with the legs. Moving through whatever movement here feels good to you. If you're bicycling the legs, go ahead and change directions. All right, then when you're ready, we'll take a big exhale, bring everything back in, give yourself a hug. And then we're gonna start to warm up the legs individually. So now we'll hold on to that right knee and then go ahead and either let the left foot find the floor or you can extend that leg to straighten. And then from here, we'll just let that right leg extend on an inhale. Go ahead and point and flex the foot. Roll the ankle one way and then the other. All right. Then we'll find that hamstring stretch. So the hands are anywhere on that extended leg except for the knee joint. And then if that left leg isn't already straight, you could go ahead and take it straight if you would like. Exhale as you bend that right knee towards the right lung. Inhale as you re-extend the leg to straighten. So exhale, the knee bends. Inhale, it re-extends. All right, we'll move in and out a few times. And then when you're ready to hold this shape, we'll go ahead and bring that right knee in towards the right lung. So the hips opening up a little bit here. And then you choose if you want to keep the heel closer to the glute, holding onto the front of the shin, or if you want to hold on to the back of the thigh and let that sole of the right foot find the ceiling. So we're more in like this low lunge shape, but lying on our back. Take a couple breaths here. All right, then when you're ready on an inhale, we'll re-extend that right leg to straighten. And then let's find our supine splits. So this time, if you've got really tight hamstrings and calf muscle, then you can find that same lunge that we just found, that same hamstring stretch. Otherwise, we're gonna keep this leg fully extended. Hands can be placed anywhere except for the knee joint. And then exhale as you guide that straight leg in towards the chest. Inhale as you come out of it. So the leg barely may move at all. Exhale, bring the leg in. Inhale as you come out of it. And then when you're ready, we'll stay. So go ahead and guide that straight leg in towards the body. You can always take a bend into the knee if you need. You could point the toes to reduce the intensity of the stretch, or flex the foot, pull the toes towards the shin to make it more intense. Take another breath here. We'll use that next inhale to come out of it. And then let's go ahead and bend the right knee. We're gonna open the hip. So when you're ready, on an inhale, go ahead and open that right hip. Let the knee move out towards the courtyard. Exhale as you bring the knee back in towards the midline. So inhale as you open the hip. Feel the stretch along the inner thigh. Exhale as you come back to the start position. All right, so once we move in and out, we're gonna find a position that's comfortable for the leg to stay in. So of course you can always keep moving if you like. Otherwise, we're gonna either keep a bent knee as we stay in this open hip position, or we can start to extend that right leg to straighten. You could even bend and straighten the legs a couple times before you choose whatever position you wanna hold. So finding that stretch all along the inner thigh. Take a few breaths here. You can always support the angle of the leg with that right hand if needed. All right, we'll take one more breath here. We'll use our exhale to bring that bent knee back in towards the midline. We're setting up for our gentle twist here. So go ahead and reach the arms out at a T, either at shoulder height or below. This sole of the right foot could be placed on that left thigh if you would like. When you're ready, as you exhale, you'll guide that bent knee across the body. Inhale brings you back to center. We're testing the waters, so to speak, to see how this feels. Exhale as you find the twist. Inhale brings you back to center. And then when you're ready to stay in that twist, we'll exhale as we bring that bent knee across the body. See if you can keep the shoulder blades rooted to the earth. And then you can play around with that right leg if you want to keep the knee bent or extend it to straighten. And then on this side, you could use that left hand to support the angle of the leg if you choose. All right, let's not forget the neck. If you would like, as you exhale, you can gaze in the opposite direction of that right leg. So we're gazing over towards the courtyard. Taking a few breaths here. Can you already tune into that low rib alignment? Zipping up the low ribs, breathing into the backside of the ribs. We'll use our next inhale to make our way out. So bring the gaze back to center. Go ahead and bring that bent knee into the chest. You could give it a little hug. And then we're gonna re-anchor that left foot to the floor. All right, let's swap the legs out here. So go ahead and bring that left knee into the chest. And then we'll either set the right foot on the floor or go ahead and extend that right leg to straighten. Okay, maybe even notice here how the legs may feel a little different from side to side. When you're ready on an inhale, let's extend that left leg to straighten overhead. And we'll just take a moment to point and flex the foot. Roll the ankle one way and then the other. All right, setting up for our hamstring stretch. Hands are anywhere on that extended leg except for the knee joint. As you inhale, you'll extend the leg to straighten. As you exhale, you'll bring that left knee towards the left lung. So inhale to extend. Exhale to bend. A few times we move in and out. And then when you're ready to stay, go ahead and bring that left knee in towards the left lung so the hip opens a little bit here for you. And then you can play around with bringing the heel closer to the glute, holding onto the front of the shin, or bringing the sole of that left foot up towards the sky. Flexing the foot, pull the toes towards the shin. Take a few more breaths here. All right, on this next inhale, let's re-extend that leg to straighten. Okay, so now coming into that supine split. So if you got those tight muscles, maybe go for a hamstring stretch again. Otherwise, we're keeping the leg fully extended as we exhale and bring that leg in towards the chest. Inhale to come out of it. Exhale as you guide that straight leg in towards the body. So one side will probably be noticeably tighter than the other. You can bend the knee if you need. When you're ready to stay in the pose, go ahead and guide that straight leg in. You can point the toes to ease out of the stretch a little bit. The leg may even shake a little bit, that's okay. Take another breath or two wherever you are. All right, then with this next inhale, let's ease out of that stretch. And then as we exhale, we'll bend the knee. We're gonna open the hip now. So when you're ready on an inhale, start to open that left hip. Exhale as you guide the knee back in towards the midline. So now this time as we inhale, we're opening the hip, letting the knee kind of fall towards the hallway. Exhale as we bring it back to center. All right, once you move in and out of it a few times, if you want to stay in the pose, we'll go ahead and let that hip open up. And then you can always keep the bent knee. Or if you want to start to extend that left leg to straighten, you can. Even using that left hand to support that angle of the leg. Once you've explored wherever you want to go with this movement, we're going to stay in this position. So holding for a few breaths. All right, on your next exhale, let's bend that left knee, bring it back in towards the midline. Setting up for our twist here, so we'll reach the arms out at a T. Palms press into the earth. You can take that sole of the left foot and put it on the right thigh if that's available or feels good. Exhale as you bring that bent knee across the body. Inhale brings you back to center. So moving in and out a few times. And then when you're ready to stay, we'll exhale, make our way into that twist. See if you can keep the shoulder blades rooted to the mat here. And then you can play around with that leg. If you want to keep the knee bent, you can, or you can extend that left leg to straighten. I'd encourage you to use that right hand if it's available to support that angle of the leg if you're extending it. And then when you're ready to stay in the pose, we'll add that twist for the neck, for the cervical spine. So we'll exhale as we gaze away from the leg. So gazing towards the hallway. Just as far as comfortable on the neck. All right, can you tune into those low ribs here? Zipping up the front of the low ribs, maybe even sending a little breath into the back body. Take another breath here. Then when you're ready, that next inhale brings us back to center. We'll rebend that left knee, bring the gaze back to center, give that left knee a hug, and then we'll step the right foot in. Go ahead and find a few Apanasanas, so tight hugs and loose hugs. If the seaweed pose speaks to your body a little bit more, feel free to find that as well. And then whenever you're ready, we'll find some windshield wipers. So we'll let those feet find the floor. Feet closer together to take pressure off the knees, feet a little further apart if you don't have any issues with pressure in the knees. And then when you're ready, just exhale as you let the knees move to one side. Inhale the knees back to center. Exhale as you let the knees fall to the other side. And just moving a few times like that with the breath. Evening out those windshield wipers. So as many times as the knees have dropped to the right, the knees will drop then to the left. And if you want to keep going with this version of windshield wiper, feel free, especially if it's really speaking to you this morning. Otherwise, we'll bring in some of those SI joint friendly windshield wipers. So more of kind of core work required. So let's come into essentially chair pose, but lying on our back. So you've got that 90-degree angle from our ankles to our knees to our hips. And then we'll reach the arms out at a T, either at shoulder height or below, pressing the palms into the ground. Think about those knees staying magnetized towards one another as you exhale and let the knees move to one side. Inhale, bring the knees back to center. Exhale as you move to the other side. So one knee is going to want to move forward of the other as you find the windshield wiper. But see if you can minimize the movement a bit so that those knees stay level. And then if you want to make this a little bit more challenging for yourself, as long as you can kind of keep the integrity of those knees staying level, you can start to extend the legs a little further towards the top of the mat. Starts to work a little bit more of those lower abdominals. All right, let's even this out. So as many times as we've windshield wipered to the right, we windshield wiper to the left, ensuring that those knees are staying magnetized. All right, and then we'll let the feet find the floor. Oh, yes. Okay, from here, if you want to find a few Apanasanas just to check in with the spine after those twists, you can. Otherwise, we're setting up for bridge pose next. So when you're ready, we'll let the feet find the floor. Feet further away from the glutes to take pressure off the knees. And then find that positioning with the upper body. The back of the shoulder to the elbow is glued to the mat. Back of the head is glued to the mat. And then those forearms, the palms, press into the earth. All right, when you're ready, we're going to initiate this movement from the hip points. So remember those strings attached to those bony protrusions on the front of the pelvis. As you inhale, we'll lift the hips up. As you exhale, we'll lower the hips all the way back down. Syncing that movement with our breath. Inhale brings the hips all the way up, as high as comfortable. Exhale as you lower back down. We'll find two more like that with the breath. Inhale to lift, and exhale to lower. Last round. And exhale. All right, let's find one more, but we're going to add a stay. On this next inhale, let's lift the hips up. And we're going to hold the pose here. See if you can really ground your energy through the center of both your feet. And maybe you could even lift all 10 of your toes. So that weight is primarily in the heels. All right, on this inhale, see if you can lift the hips a little higher. Exhale as you lower all the way down. Okie doke. We'll bring those knees into the chest. Let's find another Apanasana. Exhale the knees in. Inhale to make space. Okie doke. So then when you're ready, we're going to find a good morning stretch. We'll inhale, take the arms overhead, stretch the legs out long. And so here, kind of notice that tendency as you stretch from the fingertips all the way out through the toes. Notice how those little low ribs want to flare up. See if even here in your good morning, can you zip in those low ribs, zip them up, breathe into the back body. Then when you're ready, we're going to find banana pose. So we'll take it over to the right first. Let's walk the legs over to the right. maybe even stacking the left leg on top of the right. And then we're going to walk the arms over to the right as well. So we're in this banana shape. You can take the right index finger and thumb and wrap it around the left wrist. So the shoulder blades and the hips are all still on the mat. We're not rolled over onto one side. Our back is fully on the ground. It's just our limbs that are kind of taken over to the diagonal. The gaze is wherever's comfortable. Maybe it's up underneath that left armpit. And now here, now that we're in this kind of lateral position with our body, can you think about those low ribs? Zip up the low ribs. Breathe into the lower ribs on the back body. And as we're in this kind of side bending shape to the right, can you think about specifically with that next inhale, breathing into the left side of your rib cage? All right, take another breath here. We'll use this next inhale to make our way back through center. So kind of coming back through that good morning shape. And then taking the banana to the other side. So walking the legs over to the left. This time stacking the right on top of the left, if that's available. And then walking the arms over to the left. This time wrapping that index finger and thumb of the left hand around the right wrist, just to encourage that lengthening through the right body. Gaze can be up underneath that right armpit if it's comfortable. And then taking a moment here to zip up the low ribs, sending the breath into the right side of the rib cage. Let's take about 3 or 4 rounds of breath here. All right, so everybody breathes at different rates, but once you finish your 3rd or 4th round of breath and you're ready to come out, we'll use the inhale to unravel the arms and the legs and come back through that kind of good morning shape. You could take another good morning, big inhale, and then exhale as you bring those knees in. Let's check in one last time before we change levels. Give yourself some tight hugs and loose hugs. And then when you're ready, you can stay here for as long as you like. But next up, we're headed to all fours. So we'll just roll on to whatever side is most comfortable, making our way up to tabletop. Okie doke. So continuing to warm up a bit. So from tabletop, we'll find cat-cow. So on an inhale, squeeze those bottom tips of the shoulder blades together, broadening through the collarbones. Inhale. Exhale as you press the hands into the mat, rounding the spine for cat pose. So inhale brings us into that back heart alignment for cow. And then our exhale brings us into cat. Takes us out of that back heart alignment. A couple more like that with the breath. All right, then when you're ready, we're gonna add on here. So if you really like cat-cow, you could stay with cat-cow. Otherwise, this next time you either come into tabletop or cow, or then you're gonna use the next exhale to shift back into child's pose. Maybe lowering down to the forearms, maybe the arms extend out towards the top of the mat, and then we'll move in that way. So inhale brings us into tabletop or cow. Exhale, we shift the weight back into child's. So warming up not only the spine, but the hips a little different. Alrighty, then this next inhale, we'll all find tabletop or cow pose. And if cow pose feels good, let's go ahead and stay there. Try to keep the integrity of that back heart alignment here. And then we'll tuck the toes, and we're making our way into downward facing dog. So lifting the hips up and back. Pedaling the feet once you get there. Taking a deep bend into one knee, straightening the opposite leg. Maybe even taking a moment to say no with the head so that you ensure you're not holding on to any tension there. So the head should be heavy if it feels okay on the neck. All right, and let's go through a little flow here. So as we exhale, we're gonna lower the knees down to the mat, find tabletop or cow. And then as we exhale, actually let's come back into child's pose. So our exhale is child's. Our inhale, we pull the weight forward into either tabletop or cow. And then our exhale, we'll tuck the toes and lift the hips up and back into down dog. But we're moving in and out, so that's our exhale. As we inhale, we're gonna lower the knees down for tabletop or cow. Exhale, shift back into child's. We'll do that one more time through. Inhale brings you forward into tabletop or cow. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift up and back for down dog. Inhale brings us into tabletop or cow. Exhale sends us back into child's. You can take a moment here in child's if you would like to just rest the forehead either on the floor or on the mat. You can even take those arms down by the sides of the body, maybe roll the wrists a bit. Roll them in one direction and then in the other. All right, then when you're ready, we'll reach those arms straight out in front of us. We'll lift back up to tabletop. And from here, we're gonna make our way to the top of the mat into more of kind of a forward fold shape. So however you wanna get there, whether walking the hands to meet the feet or the feet to meet the hands, we'll kind of all meet in this ragdoll shape. We'll inhale, find a half lift. So think about that tabletop spine, that back heart alignment. Exhale as you fold forward. And then inhale, lead with the crown of the head. Find that length of the spine as you circle the arms, coming all the way up. Exhale the hands through heart center. All right, so standing tall, we'll all be, let's all be at the back of the mat. So if you're at the top, just take a little journey back. Okay, so on an inhale, let's sweep our arms up overhead. Okay, and I'm gonna turn to face you. So, turn to face away. So we're gonna interlace our hands, either Yogi Mudra, clasping the hands completely, or making that index finger, or making the arrow with the index finger and the thumb. We're coming into our standing crescent moon. So moving to the right first. We will exhale as we reach up and over to the right side. Inhale brings us back to center. Exhale as we reach up and over to the left. Inhale brings us back to center. Now we're gonna exhale as we make our way into a forward fold. Lowering all the way to that forward fold shape. Inhale for a half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale as we come all the way back up, circling the arms. Exhale the hands through heart center. Okay, this next time we move through our standing crescent, really want you to think about those low ribs. Zipping up the low ribs, breathing into the back body. So on an inhale, let's circle the arms. Find whatever clasp works best for you. Index finger and thumb or Yogi Mudra. And now we're gonna bend to the left first. So take a deep inhale to prepare. Exhale as we side bend to the left. Inhale brings us back up. Exhale as we side bend to the right. Inhale brings us back up. Exhale as we swan dive to our forward fold. Once we get in that forward fold shape, we'll use an inhale to half lift. Exhale to forward fold. This next inhale is gonna bring us all the way back upright. And then exhale the hands through heart center. Okay, so before we move into our warriors and play around with some arm movements, I wanna visit those arm movements standing, okay? Because once we start doing other things with the legs, your brain may get a little scrambled. So let's try to simplify it. So what we're gonna do here, of course, thinking about knitting in those low ribs the entire time. On an inhale, we'll bring the arms up. And then as you exhale, I want you to reach your right arm back behind you as you reach your left arm forward. So a little twist in the upper body. Inhale as we bring the arms all the way back up. So as we do this, can we think about keeping these hip points facing forward and almost like that weightlifting belt, keeping everything from the navel below really stable so that the twist mainly happens in the middle to upper spine. So when you're ready, exhale as you reach the left arm forward, right arm back. Yeah, and then inhale, bring the arms back up. Let's do that one more time with the breath. Exhale, left arm forward, right arm back. Inhale as you come all the way back up. This time we're gonna add a stay. So exhale, left arm forward, right arm back. If you would like, you can even send your gaze towards that right thumb behind you. All right, so notice how the hips are facing forward, but we're twisting the upper body. Okay, now listen to my words here. Send your gaze forward. So you're gazing at that left thumb now. Now on your next inhale, you're gonna sweep your right arm forward as you take your left arm back. Yes. Okay, now let's release the arms. We'll find that one more time. So on an inhale, reach the arms up. As you exhale, we're finding that twist. Left arm reach forward, right arm behind. Okay, well, you can keep the gaze forward. And now when you're ready, so it's almost like we're cartwheeling the arms. We're going to inhale as we reach the right arm forward, sweeps forward, left arm sweeps back. And then release the arms. Let's do that one more time. Inhale the arms up. Exhale as we find the twist, left arm forward, right arm back. And so it's going to happen, both arms move simultaneously. We inhale as the right arm reaches forward, the left arm back. All right, let the arms go. How do we feel about that? Do we want to try that one more time before we start doing something with the lower body? We'll try it one more time. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, left arm forward, right arm back. Okay, now, inhale as you reach the right arm forward, the left arm sweeps back. It's kind of like this windmilling of the arms, and then we'll release the arms. Let's find that on the other side. On an inhale, sweep the arms up. Now we're just coming in and out of the twist. So as you exhale, we'll reach the right arm forward, the left arm behind. Hips stay facing forward. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale to find the twist. Right arm forward, left arm behind. Yep. Inhale, arms back up. This time we're going to stay. Exhale as you find that twist. Right arm forward, left arm behind. Maybe you gaze towards that left thumb behind you. Take a breath. All right, now send your gaze forward. So you're gazing towards that right thumb. And now we're going to do the kind of fancy arms here. We're going to inhale as we reach the left arm forward, right arm behind. All right, let's try that again. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale as you reach the right arm forward, left arm behind. Inhale as you sweep the left arm forward, bring the right arm back. Let's do that one more time. Inhale the arms up. Exhale as you find the twist, right arm forward, left arm behind. Inhale as you sweep the left arm forward, right arm moves back. All right, inhale both arms up. Exhale, release the arms down by the sides of the body. How do we feel about that? It's a little, ooh, okay. Okie doke. So let's get moving. And always know, so what essentially we're going to be doing is we'll be in a warrior one, and we're going to find that twist in the upper body. But whenever I give that cue to find that arm, to sweep one arm forward, one arm behind, if that's too much for you, all you're going to do is adjust the arms to come into warrior two. Okay? So you got options. It's not a make it or break it of anything. Okie doke. So we'll all start at the back of the mat. And we're going to take warrior one on the right side. So we'll take one step forward with the right foot. Yep, doesn't have to be a giant step. And then just making the feet hip width apart, go ahead and bend that front knee. And we won't add the arms yet. When you're ready, you could just put the hands on the hips. Inhale as you straighten the front leg. Exhale as you bend the front knee. Just warming up the hips with our body weight. Inhale to straighten the leg. Exhale to bend the knee. One more. Inhale. And exhale. All right, let's keep that bend in the front knee. Inhale as we reach the arms up. Okie doke. And I don't know about you all, but my feet get really sweaty and I'm about to slip off this mat. So I'm just gonna take the floor for a little bit. Okay, now we're adding our twist. So when you're ready, as you exhale, reach the left arm forward, right arm behind. Inhale as you reach the arms up. We'll do that 2 more times with the breath. Exhale, reach the left arm forward, right arm behind. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, twist. Left arm forward, right arm behind. Okay, here comes our beautiful fancy move. As you inhale, sweep the right arm forward, left arm back. So warrior 2 arms. Now you can heel toe that back foot a little further away from you if you want to widen the stance for your warrior 2. Okay, and from here, let's go ahead and move that front knee. So inhale as you straighten the front knee. Exhale as you bend the front knee. Just moving in and out a few times. Inhale to exhale. One more. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. Beautiful. Okay, let's hold this warrior 2 shape. And now we're going to come in and out of reverse warrior and extended side angle, which are laterals. So keeping those low ribs knitted in. On an inhale, we'll flip our front palm, our right palm, and inhale as you reach up and over. All right, exhale, we'll come back through warrior 2. Inhale, extended side angle. So either that right hand can come to the thigh or the elbow as we reach up and over. Exhale, we come back to warrior 2. We're going to flow in and out a few times. Inhale, find your reverse warrior. Exhale brings you back through warrior 2, and we inhale into our extended side angle. 2 more times like that. Exhale through warrior 2. Inhale, extended side angle. So that front leg never changes. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, extended. This is our last time through. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, back through warrior two. Inhale, extended side angle. All right, this next inhale is going to bring us all the way back up to warrior two. We'll go ahead and straighten that front leg and then turn the toes in so the feet are parallel to one another here. We're in a wide stance facing the hallway. Now before we go anywhere else, just make sure you've got a block and arms reach away in case you need it. And then we can just bring our hands to heart center. Skandasana, so side lunges. So imagine that you're essentially kind of moving into chair pose, reaching your hips back, but you're going to keep one leg straight. So go ahead and shift your weight to one side, doesn't matter which side. Bend that knee. And then we'll inhale as we straighten both legs. Exhale as we take that side lunge over to the other side. And then inhale as we come back through center. So waking up those inner thighs. And if this feels great, stay here. Or another option, if you want to stay low, so if you don't want to straighten your legs in between sides, you just want to alternate, kind of shifting the weight over to one side and then the other, you can. Even here, think about that back heart alignment. So those shoulders are going to want to round forward, but can you keep those bottom tips of the shoulder blades squeezing in together? All right, let's even it out. As many side lunges as you did to the right, you do to the left. And then we'll inhale, brings us back up tall. Straighten the legs. Okay, so notice, are the toes out and the feet and the heels turned in? Let's make the feet parallel to one another if we can. And then we'll bring the hands to the hips. We're moving into our wide-legged forward fold here. So let's grow tall through the crown of the head, and then hinging at the hips, keeping this length of the spine. We start to fold forward as we exhale, keeping that length of the spine for as long as we can, but then when we can't, we succumb, if you will, to that forward fold. So starting to round the spine, letting gravity do the work. So kind of let your head hang if it feels okay on the neck. The hands can be placed anywhere. They can be right on the ground beneath you or on blocks. You could reach the arms straight out ahead of you, kind of reaching the hips back for a wide leg down dog. Or you could even reach those hands through the center of the legs, reaching back. So just taking a few breaths here. If you try to straighten the legs more, like straightening the knees, you'll feel more of a stretch along the hamstrings. But if you want this to be more in the low back, take more of a bend into the knees. We're going to take about 2 or 3 more breaths here. All right, and then when you're ready to come out, we'll take a bend into both knees, and we'll inhale for our half lift. So find that length of the spine. Take even more of a bend into the knees here if you need, especially for stabilization as we bring those hands to the hips. And then inhale our way all the way up to stand. If you get a little dizzy, press the tongue into the roof of the mouth and kind of tuck the chin to the chest for a moment. All right, so where we're going from here, we're going to take those left toes and we're going to turn them towards the top of the mat. All right, and then we can go ahead and kind of pivot that back foot in a little bit, maybe heel toe it in to shorten the stance and take that step forward towards the top of the mat. So closing it off, we're going to find a half sun salutation here. So facing the mirror, on an inhale, both feet are together. We inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. We exhale as we ride it out to a forward fold. Inhale, find that half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale as we ride that breath all the way back up to stand. And exhale the hands down through heart center. Okay. So now all we're going to do is turn around. So you're going to stay at the back of your mat, but you're just going to turn to face me. Beautiful. Okay, so now let's take a step forward with the left foot, coming into warrior one on the left side. So we'll bend that left knee. We can keep the hands on the hips at first, and let's just straighten and bend that front leg. So as you inhale, straighten the leg. As you exhale, bend the knee. So just moving in and out. Inhale to exhale. One more. This next time we exhale, we'll bend that front knee. So finding a really strong warrior one with the lower body. And then we will inhale, reach those arms up overhead. So notice that tendency here as we reach the arms up to flare the low ribs so that you could find more of a back bend here, but then knit in those low ribs. All right, finding the twist here. Inhale as we reach the arms up. Exhale as we reach the right arm forward, left arm behind. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale as we find the twist. One more time. Inhale and exhale. All right, we're going to stay there and hold, knitting in the low ribs. Here comes our fancy arms. On an inhale, we're going to reach that left arm forward, right arm behind. Warrior two arms. Go ahead and heel toe that back foot away from you a little more if you want to widen the stance for warrior two. And then from here, we're going to warm up that front leg. So on an inhale, straighten the front leg. On the exhale, bend the front knee. 2 more times like that. Inhale to exhale. Last one. And exhale. All right, strong warrior two legs. Now we're going to add our reverse warrior. As you inhale, flip the front palm and then reach up and over, knitting in those low ribs. Exhale is going to bring us through warrior two. Inhale, extended side angle. So either that left hand on the knee or elbow to the knee. Exhale brings us back through warrior two. Moving in and out 3 times. So inhale to reverse. Exhale through warrior two. Inhale to extended side angle. 2 more with the breath. Inhale to exhale. So inhale as you find that side body stretch, and then you use that exhale to transition back through warrior two. This is our last one. All right, so that next time that you inhale, you'll lift all the way up to warrior two and straighten that front leg. You're going to turn the toes in. So now we're in a wide stance facing the courtyard. We'll bring our hands to heart center. All right, and just checking in, you got a block in arm's reach just in case you need it for that wide leg forward fold. Skandasana. When you're ready, let's shift our weight over to one side. Doesn't matter which side, so that's side lunge. And then inhale as you straighten the legs, or if you chose to shift the weight side to side last time, maybe you choose that here as well. So notice if your hips are reaching back, almost like you're in chair pose. That's what we want. All right, go ahead and even it out. As many times as you've gone to the right, you've gone to the left. And then we'll all meet with straight legs at center in this wide leg stance. Okay, hands on the hips. Grow tall through the crown of the head. And then as we exhale, we'll hinge at the hips as we find our way into a forward fold. When you can't keep that length of the spine anymore, start to round. Hands to the blocks, hands to the ground. You could even turn the palms to face upward. So kind of placing the back of the hands on the floor. You can always play around with the distance between the feet here. And then you've got those options. If you keep the legs relatively straight, you'll feel this more in the hamstrings and in the calves. And then if you keep the knees bent, you'll feel it more into the low back. Let's take about 3 more breaths here. After that third breath, we're going to make our way out. So we'll take a bend into the knees. Inhale as we find that half lift, so create that length in the spine. And then you can take even more of a bend into the knees to stabilize as you bring the hands to the hips. And then inhale all the way up. All right, so we're making our way to the top of the mat. So we'll just turn our toes to face one direction and then take that step forward. Beautiful. All right, half sun sal. Inhale as we sweep the arms up. Exhale as we ride it out to a forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, we come all the way back upright. Exhale, the hands through heart center, down by the sides of the body. Okay, this time we're sun saling to all fours. So on an inhale, let's sweep the arms up. Exhale as we ride it out to a forward fold. This next inhale, we find that little bit of a half lift, but we're going to plant the hands either on our blocks or on the floor, and we're going to step back to our mat for all fours. Once we get to all fours, we can find some cat-cows if that feels good. Or you can find a few of those forward and back movements with the breath if that felt better. And then kind of the last thing that we're going to move through before we continue to cool down is going to be some of those heart openers. So we're gonna lower down to our belly. You can get there however you want. I'll offer from all fours, walk your hands a handprint in front of where they are, and then shift your weight forward. So you're in a kind of plank position, either from your knees or your toes. And then exhale as you lower all the way down to the belly. All right, once you get to the belly, we'll explore all the different heart openers. You stop along the way with which heart opener speaks best to you. You can go ahead and untuck the toes. So you press all 10 of your toenails into the mat. And then first stop, we'll just reach those arms straight overhead. And then let the head kind of rest in the cradle of the upper arms or the forehead on the floor. Taking a few breaths there. And then if you'd rather come into alligator instead of this fish position, then we'll stack the forearms and let our head rest on our stacked forearms. All right, if you want to progress from here, we're headed to Sphinx. So we'll start to bring those forearms to the mat. You could have your elbows all the way up underneath your shoulders, but if you want less of a back bend here, you could bring the elbows a little bit more forward of the shoulders. And then pressing the forearms into the mat to almost like lift the low ribs away from the pelvis, but all the while knitting in those low ribs. Here, can you breathe into the lower ribs on the back body? All right, maybe you stay here for a few more breaths. Otherwise, we're headed to our cobras. So we're gonna lower down if we're headed to cobra. Let the hands be placed under the shoulders. And so for baby cobra, we're not putting any weight in our hands. On an inhale, we'll lift the gaze, lift the chest away from the floor just as much as we can, and we can lift the hands, and it doesn't change our place in space. Take another big breath in. Exhale as we lower the forehead back to the mat. All right, our last stop is gonna be King Cobra. So if we're going for King Cobra, bring the hands a little further down, thumbs in line with mid-chest or the lower ribs. And then when you're ready, on an inhale, now we're gonna put weight into our hands as we start to peel the chest away from the mat. And it's as we get into these really kind of like deeper back bends that I really want you to think about knitting in those low ribs, making that space in the back body. Exhale as we lower all the way back down. Okay, from here, we're making our way onto our back. Some may want to roll over, some may want to push back up through plank and come to your back from seated. It's up to you. Where we are headed from here is pigeon, okay? So whether you take pigeon on your back reclined or whether you take it from all fours, I'll walk you through pigeon here. But you're not gonna do pigeon in this way if you have had knee replacements or if you have any issue with pressures in your knees or you got knee pain. You'll be fine. Go ahead and lay on your back if that's you. Otherwise, if you want to find pigeon in this way with your body weight kind of assisting the stretch from all fours, you're going to bring your right knee towards your right wrist, keeping your heel close to your pelvis as you start to take that left leg for a walk. You can start to straighten that left leg behind you. Here, you may already start to feel a stretch into the right hip. Otherwise, if you don't, you can start to kind of wiggle that shin a little further out. And then folding into it, coming down to the forearms. So from a front view, this is what it would look like. So keeping the heel really close to the base of the pelvis at first, but then if you need a little bit more of a stretch, you start to wiggle the shin out. But your knee really doesn't go that far out of being in line with your hip. And then you can either kind of keep the hips on one level, or if it feels better, you can have a seat onto that right side and kind of like let the left leg be a little bent. Otherwise, we are lying on our back with either that right ankle right above the left knee or the hands behind the thigh. So it's the same pose, just kind of a different positioning. So you choose what you want here. We're going to be here for about 5 or 6 more breaths, wherever you are. All right, whenever you've reached your 5th or your 6th breath, if you're lying on your back, go ahead and swap the legs out. If you're on pigeon, kind of from all fours, you're just going to reverse the movement. So you'll walk that left leg back in and then take the right leg out of it. Maybe you do a few little circles with that right leg just to kind of lubricate the hip joint. And then we're going to go to the other side. So then bringing that left knee towards the left wrist, keeping the heel close in. Start to walk the right leg back. So either keeping that left hip off the ground or you can sit into it as you start to fold forward. And then of course, if you need to intensify the stretch, letting that shin go a little bit further away from the body. And some folks like to take pigeon kind of from all fours on one side, but then they like to take reclined pigeon on the other side. So just meet yourself where you are. We'll be here for about 6 or 7 breaths. See if you can start to slow down your breathing. All right, after that 6th or 7th breath, those folks on your back, you're just going to unravel the legs, find a few Apanasanas. Those folks on all fours, you'll reverse the movement to make your way out. So walk the right leg back in, bring that left leg out of it, maybe find a few little hip circles on that left side to kind of wipe away that stretch. And then we're all going to be making our way onto our back, however you want to get there. And we'll have whatever items, props, just an arm reach away if we're using props to settle in. So once we get down on our back, if you haven't already done so, find a few of those Apanasanas. Just check in, do as many of these as you need to feel balance from one side of the spine to the other. All right, then when you're ready, let's let the feet find the floor. Find some butterflies. So on an inhale, let the knees go wide, the soles of the feet press into one another. You could even take the arms up overhead, keeping a bend into the elbows. If you want to move in and out of this, you can. Otherwise, if you just want to stay and hold the pose, you can do that too. We've already opened the hips quite a bit. You could even take those hands and press into the thighs to assist those inner thighs to open a little more. And then if butterfly feels good to you, feel free to stay here. Otherwise, we're going to move kind of towards a cobbler's pose. So same kind of shape with the legs, but instead of having the feet rest on the floor, we bring those feet in towards our body. Whether we hold on to the feet or we hold on to the legs, it just kind of assists for a deeper inner thigh stretch. Take another breath or two wherever you are. And then from here, we're making our way into Happy Baby. So bringing those knees into the chest, drawing the knees towards the armpits and maybe staying there, or taking the peace fingers to the big toes or the hands to the outer edges of the feet. Drawing the soles of the feet to the sky as you press those thighs down into the earth. You can rock side to side here. You can alternate taking a bend into one knee, straightening the other leg. Give a little rock side to side as you do that. And then even the option, if you'd like to take it, to straighten both legs in your Happy Baby. Then after you move through Happy Baby, your body gets enough of what it wants there. You can find a few more of those Apanasanas, or maybe seaweed poses, whatever last few movements your body's craving that it either didn't get or didn't get enough of throughout the practice today. And then our next stop is Shavasana. So taking your time. There's no rush. Never is in yoga. But once your body feels like it's gotten enough for today's practice, just letting that body begin to move closer and closer to the earth with each exhale. Begin to scan your awareness through the sensations in your body, just like we did at the beginning of our practice. Noticing how you may feel a little different compared to when you got on your mat this morning. And just noticing what comes to mind here without judging it in any way. See if you can start to let that go. Letting the entirety of the practice go. Letting go of the expectations you had for yourself. Letting go of my voice. As you rest here in the stillness for the last few moments of class. Whenever your mind starts to wander away, you can bring it back to the breath. Maybe just simply saying to yourself as you inhale, you say the word in. And as you exhale, say the word to yourself, out. You can pendulate back and forth between anchoring the breath, anchoring the mind to the breath, and letting go. Take a moment to notice where your mind has traveled off to. And if it's anywhere but here, gently guide it back for the last few moments of class. We'll slowly start to bring our awareness back into the room as we wiggle our fingers and wiggle our toes, maybe noticing any tingling in the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet. And we'll finish today's practice with a closing gesture of sorts. So anything that resonates most with you, I'll offer bringing the hands to heart center and bowing the lips towards the tops of the fingers. Taking one more moment here to acknowledge that blessing that we all have to be able to move our bodies in dynamic ways, regardless of our limitations and our restrictions. The light in me bows and honors the light within each one of you yogis. Namaste.
Namaste.